So what is consciousness? I mean, it's got to be one of the most profound questions we can even ask, right? It's the one thing we know for sure exists, our own awareness, our inner world, and yet it's still science's greatest unsolved mystery. Let's dig into why that is. Okay, before we get into all the heavy science, let's just start with something we all know firsthand, our own experience. That rich, vibrant, and totally private universe that exists only inside your head. No, really. Just take a second and think about it, right now. You're not just some robot processing light and sound from your screen. There's an experience of it all. There is something that it is like to be you, listening to my voice, looking at this screen. That is consciousness. It's the subjective texture of our reality. It's the sweetness of a strawberry, that little pang of nostalgia you get from an old song, the incredible colors of a sunset. It's basically the entire movie playing in your mind, starring you, directed by you, and with an audience of, well, just one. This inner film is the whole puzzle. So to even begin to get a handle on this, the philosopher David Chalmers came up with this brilliant way of thinking about it. He split the puzzle into two different categories, what he calls the easy problems and the one single hard problem. Now, the easy problems are, well, they're anything but easy. They involve mapping the entire brain's wiring and figuring out how it all works. We can, at least in theory, figure out how the brain processes information or controls our behavior. But the hard problem? That's a completely different beast. It asks, why does all of that processing feel like anything from the inside? Scientists and philosophers actually have a word for these subjective qualities, qualia. It's the fancy term for the raw feelings themselves. When you see the color red, the actual experience of redness, that's a qualia. It's the what it's likeness of our inner world, and it is the absolute heart of the hard problem. And this brings us to the core reason the hard problem is just so impossible to crack. It's a concept known as the explanatory gap. It's this massive chasm between our physical world and our mental one. Just imagine you're lying in a brain scanner, okay? We give you a strawberry to eat. We can literally watch what happens in your brain. We can see the neurons in your visual cortex firing as you see its bright red color. We can track the signals in your gustatory cortex as you taste its sweetness. We can measure all of that physical activity. But here's the thing. Nowhere in that scan, not in all that data of firing neurons and chemical reactions, nowhere will we find the actual feeling of sweetness. That experience is completely private. It's all yours. We can see the brain stuff that happens at the same time as the feeling, but we can't see what causes the feeling itself. And this right here, this is the gap. How do you get from the physical stuff, the wet, squishy, biological hardware of the brain, the little zaps of electricity, to the non-physical, subjective richness of an experience? How does a bunch of matter create meaning and feeling? The honest answer is, nobody has a clue. Here's another way to think about it. It's kind of like a super advanced computer. We could map every single circuit, every transistor, every line of code. But that physical map would never, ever tell us why or how that system would suddenly start to feel lonely or experience the beauty of a piece of music. There's this huge leap from the mechanism to the experience that we just can't seem to. So you can see how this philosophical headache turns into a massive practical roadblock for scientists. I mean, how do you scientifically study something you can't even observe, let alone measure? Science, it thrives on objective, verifiable, third-person data. But consciousness is, by its very nature, a first-person thing. There's no consciousness meter we can point at someone to measure their qualia. All we have is what they tell us. And think about it. How can we ever be sure that your experience of the color red is the same as my experience of red? The simple answer is we can't. This quote just nails it perfectly. It captures the fundamental mismatch. The entire toolkit of science is designed for the external, objective world. But with consciousness, we're trying to explain the internal, subjective one. It's like trying to measure the temperature of a dream with a thermometer. You're just using the wrong tool for the job. And so, even with all these incredible advances in neuroscience and our understanding of the brain, consciousness, it just remains locked away. We've come so far, but that central question still feels as mysterious as it ever has. This metaphor, the map and the territory, it really sums the whole thing up. We have this amazingly detailed map of the physical brain, all its structures, its pathways, its signals. But that map doesn't show us the actual territory, the lived, felt, subjective experience of the mind that's supposed to come from it. We have the blueprint, but we've never seen the building. So this leaves us with these huge tantalizing questions. Is consciousness just an emergent illusion? Some clever trick our complex brains are playing on themselves? Or could it be something way more fundamental, maybe even woven into the very fabric of reality, like gravity or time? The mystery is profound, for sure, but the search is on, and people are exploring everything to find an answer. For now, though, the final answer is still out there, waiting in the great unknown.